Hey everyone, just wanted to show you all before I do this tie rod replacement. I got the machine up in the air using a different jack today. Anyways, here's what I'm talking about and why I was thinking I might have to replace the rack. I got it turned all the way to the right. This is the driver's side wheel, and when I move it, I don't know if it even shows up, but I'm moving this thing out at the tip of the wheel. It's a solid inch. I don't know if it'll show up on the video, but I'm moving this thing. Let's see if I can hold my hands a little better here. Sorry about the lighting. It has that much movement and the other wheel is not moving, so it's only on this side of the rack. So anyways, I've got a new link rod, tie rod, and I'll go ahead and pull the boot off and get it apart, and hopefully I don't have to replace the whole rack. That would be nice, but if I have to, I will. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to pull the wheel off and start disassembling this thing. Alright, I got the wheel off and the tie rod off of the hub. What I'm going to do is measure, because I'm using an OEM replacement. I didn't get an aftermarket one. So theoretically it should be exactly the same. So anyways, I'm going to use my calipers just to get, there's a groove right there where the boot ends, or that's where the boot clamps. Anyways, there's a groove right there, so I'm going to go right from the face of that groove up to the locking nut, and I don't care what the measurement is. I'm just going to lock my calipers there, so when I put this thing back together, there, that's locked now, it won't move. When I put it back together, I'll use the same measurement to start and see how it ends up. How I'm going to align this exactly, I don't really know. Maybe I can put a straight edge and clamp them to the tires or something, but I'm thinking it's mostly going to be by eye and feel. I'm thinking I just want a little bit of toe in to possibly help lighten the steering up a bit. So anyways, I'm going to continue taking this thing apart and see what this thing looks like. Oh, the new one. That's the new one. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with this stuff, but anyways, that's where the ball goes into the socket and that screws into the end of the rack. There is zero play in this thing. It is tight. So I'm going to get that boot off and we'll see what that looks like in a minute. Alright, now that I got this thing cleaned up a little more and I've got the tie rod off, I can actually see the rack a little better. I don't know, you can see right here where there's discoloration. I'm not sure how well the camera is going to show that, but that is all galled up. And I'm assuming it's from when I had the damaged boot and didn't know it, and I had this thing full of mud and crap. That was, almost 1,000 miles ago. Anyways, it's all chewed up, so it's still, you know, like I say, it doesn't move forward and aft. It moves up and down. So I'm assuming something's worn out there. I was looking at the parts fiche and the parts diagram. There's a bushing, a support bushing on the other end of this rack. It doesn't show one for this end of the rack, or the steering box to support the rack is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, obviously I need a new steering box and rack to really fix this problem, but it's not going to solve the problem of no support at this end of the bloody rack. So I'm going to try and make a bushing right now to fit in there to see if that's feasible. Maybe the bushing from the other end will fit. I'm going to go ahead and order one. But right now, I just want this supported. It's not unsafe. It's clunky and there's play in the steering and I don't like it. And like I said, this thing's all chewed up. So it did do damage for me not noticing the torn boot and getting the thing full of mud. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and try and make a bushing. I've got a piece of just real cheap soft aluminum that I can bend and maybe put a little lip on it and push in there to take up some of this play just to see if it makes a difference. If it works, then when I get the new one, I'll do it on the bench and actually, you know, put in a screw or something to come in and hold the bushing in place, or anyways, figure out some means of keeping the bushing from sliding out. So that's where I'm at, and try and get a better picture. So anyways, yeah, I can see the discoloration through the camera, so I'm sure it'll show up on the bigger picture. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to go ahead and do the bushing thing. Probably won't install it today. I'm going to I'll put the new tie rod end on. What the hell? And I guess I'll go ahead and order the new parts for it. But that's what's going on. That's where all the play in this thing was coming from. At least the vast majority of it is the end of this rack has no support. Next. All right, well, I bent up a real quick bushing. Got a little lip there to retain it. It's really not thick enough, but it actually ain't pretty either. Anyways, the point is, I stuck it in there. Sure enough, it keeps, you know, it adds support to the end of the rack. It just slides in and pushes in there like that. It needs to be a little thicker. Anyways, so sure, that would get rid of the slop. I got a bigger problem. When I pulled that bushing back out, it was covered with the grease that's up inside the steering box. It's still completely full of sand. The steering box is toast. So I'm going to go right now and go order a new steering box and rack, complete assembly. And that's the only fix for this one. There's no point even, you know, taking it off the machine and trying to repair it. It's full of sanding grit. It's basically devouring itself. So that kind of sucks, but no biggie. But the thing is, when I get the new rack, I think I'm going to go ahead and order an extra bushing for the other side as well, and see if it'll fit this side. I might have to cut it down or something, but getting some support in the end of this rack should really help to keep this thing alive. I mean, I abuse this thing far more than probably 85% of the population's going to. Again, because my suspension moves so much, and that's basically all I do is work the thing to death, you know, full travel all the time. So it's really getting abused. Way past what it was ever designed to do, obviously. So as far as the rack, I mean, my fault. The boot was torn. I didn't notice it, and it got packed full of dirt. So I thought I got it all out, but I guess there's just no way to get it all out without completely disassembling the thing. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put the new tie rod back on it, I'm not going to mess with that bushing right now. I just wanted to hammer something out quick to see if it was feasible. It is. And like I said, when I get the new one, I'm going to do something to support the end of that rack when I get the new one. So that's where I'm at. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back together.